Hey guys, before you watch this video, I want you to go back and I want you to watch the Pixar film that is also posted on the slide with this video because you'll need that for to understand what I'm talking about for plot today. All right, so last week we talked about elements of the story, okay, which is setting characters' plot, which consists of the problem and solution. But now today we're going to dig into the plot a little bit more, okay, and talk about a story plot, okay, the plot mountain. And there are 5 parts of a path that make up the plot mountain or the plot diagram, okay. So we start here at the beginning of with the exposition or the introduction. We're going to go into more of these detail as we go on. Then the next part of the story, we have our rising action, then our climax, our falling action, and finally the resolution of the story. Okay, so let's go. You're going to follow Mrs. Davidson as I climb my plot diagram and explain each part, and I'm going to be explaining it using your Pixar film that you should have watched too. Okay, so the first part of that story mountain is the exposition part. Okay, so this is the part of the story that introduces the setting, the characters, and the problem of the story. And depending on the length of the story, the exposition may be brief, more detailed. It makes the readers familiar with the important details of the story. Okay, so in the film that you watched, we have our characters. We have the kind of the big long-legged bird, and then the little bluebirds. And there's kind of a couple problems. Sometimes there's multiple problems in stories, and one of the problems is that these little birds don't like it that this big bird has come, seemingly ruining their fun. But the big bird also has a problem because these little birds are making fun of him. He doesn't necessarily realize it, but they are making fun of him. So that is the exposition part of your story mountain. All right, the next part is the part that climbs up. This is the rising action, okay? So once the problem has been introduced, the events of the story continue to get worse as the story goes on. The characters must decide what they're going to do to solve a problem and make goals to begin resolving it, okay? So in this Pixar film that you watch, you can see that these birds, their problem is that now this big giant bird has come and joined them on the electrical line, and you can see that they're starting to go down, and they're all smushed up against him, and they don't really like that. Okay, so they're starting to kind of think, well, what can we do to get him out of here? All right, then there's the climax of the story, okay? This is where the story has reached a point where things possibly could not get any worse. But the characters reach a turning point. So at this point, we got our kind of awkward, lengthy bird flipped over, which is looking pretty sad for him. But the little birds realize that we can maybe get him off of here, and they start pecking at his feet. So they're trying to solve the problem. Um, and we're thinking, okay, maybe they'll be okay now because they're going to work together to get him off of the line. Okay, and then we have the falling action. Okay, so this is on the other side of the story mountain now. Okay, we're coming down. The characters begin to resolve major problems, and the story looks to be going in the right direction. Okay, so here in the story, we have finally the big bird falls off of the wire like the little birds wanted, but you can see that it went in the right direction for the big lengthy bird, but the other birds flew up in the air and lost all their feathers. And then finally is at the very bottom of the mountain. Okay, this is the resolution part where the characters have answered all questions and have accomplished all the goals made while solving their problem in the story. The story seems to have come to an acceptable ending. So here you can see that now the little birds have lost all their feathers. But the big, lengthy bird, he thinks this is pretty funny. So it ends well for him in the end. Not so much the little birds, but he gets a good laugh at it, which is kind of ironic because the beginning story they were laughing at him. So we have our resolution and we are at the bottom of the story mountain. Okay. So let's go back over those different parts. Okay. So again, the plot diagram. It starts with the exposition, the introduction. Then there's the rising action. Then the climax. Then the falling action. And then the resolution. So that is the parts of a plot.